Right now on Golf Central, team is the theme tonight, headlined by world number 1 Lydia Ko, who has a new member in her team, and that's only part of her big day.
The Zurich Classic hosts the PGA Tour's first team event in 36 years. Rosie and I are teaming up.
Give it to me.
Woo! With all the storylines.
Including how a pair of brothers are planning to chase down the title in New Orleans, my brother.
Plus, our team did some research to highlight golf's most memorable team moments in the last 20 years.
And from cup competitions to college championships, the high fives are all ahead right now on Golf Central.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Happy 20th birthday to world number 1 Lydia Ko, who is also celebrating a new caddy on her bag. Much more on that in just a moment. It's still hard to believe, though, all that Ko has accomplished during her teenage years, which ended on a very high note. 79 straight weeks at the top of the Rolex rankings, a streak that continues on.
The records Ko's compiled are just staggering. The youngest to then just fill in about any blank. Win an LPGA event, LET event, LPGA Player of the Year, become number 1 in the world, win a women's major, win multiple majors, the youngest since young Tom Morris. With GolfChannel.com's Randall Mell and Golf Channel insider Tim Roseport. Randall, you broke the story on Sunday. The caddy carousel for Lydia Ko has now landed on Peter Godfrey. How has this come about? What should we expect out of the duo?
Yeah, George, caddy number 10 in her pro career. But, you know, Peter's actually a known commodity in the Ko camp because of the unique ties between Lydia Ko and Arya Jutanagarn. Peter Godfrey was Arya's caddy last year when she won the Rico Women's British Open. So Lydia and Arya share an agent, Michael Yim, and so Michael was very familiar with Peter Godfrey and his personality, and that may be the most important part of his hiring, because the importance of relationships with Lydia and the relationships with her caddy.
To me, it's not that Lydia Ko, the story's not that Lydia Ko has got her 10th caddy now. It's the chain reaction that happened last summer when Arya Jutanagarn reaches out for Godfrey, who's on the bench at that point in time. They win the Women's British Open, as you said. They go on to win the CME Globe and $1 million bonus, and then they end up breaking up. I mean, what more do you want? And then on top of that, she goes back to a guy in Les Luark, I'm talking about Jutanagarn now, who fired her during the Women's British Open last year. Now, these are the top 2 players in the world, women's players in the world. You cover this circuit. Is it always this drama-filled?
I guess it depends on the player, but I don't know if it's as the world turns or if it's the young and the restless, but there's a little bit of a soap opera nature to the caddy-player relationships at the top. But neither player seems to be that affected by changing caddies.
George, it's funny. It's like the caddies and the ex-instructors are the ones that are creating somewhat of a soap opera, I guess. But talking last week to Michael Yim, who's the manager for both players, in actuality, and there was a lot of talk from Ledbetter that it was actually Lydia's parents that make all these moves. He said, absolutely not. At the end of the day, it's her decision. Who can fault her for that? If she's not comfortable, I can only recommend as many caddies as I can. She won't know until she tries them. Which plays to your point. She wants a friend out there much more than maybe the best caddy in the world.
Yeah, if you watch Lydia play, she is the most engaging and talkative player maybe on tour. So it's very important to have a caddy that she can converse with and is comfortable with, maybe more important than finding yardages and reading greens.
And there's been good reason for us to talk about her as a teenager now, as she turns the page to her 20s with her 20th birthday. The numbers she's put up, just sum up what we've seen her accomplish at such a young age, Randall.
If there's a youngest record in the LPGA, she has it. You know, I mean, youngest to win an LPGA event, the youngest to become number 1, youngest to win a major, youngest to win a money title, youngest player of the year. I could keep going on with that. But to me, of all of that, the thing that impresses me most is the maturity level, that as a teen, she was 17 going on 30. It's her ability to stand back and see the big picture, not get flustered, not get too excited about things. With all this talk about what's Lydia going through with all these changes and she hasn't won in a while, she's probably the least worried about it of anyone.
I don't think she's going to do this retirement deal to 30, and I think she's going to kind of walk right on through any of this. Even if you want to call it a soap opera, I don't think to her it's a soap opera at all. And ultimately, she's the one hitting the shots, just as it is with Jatanagarn, and I don't think any of this stuff, while it makes for good news and fun stuff to talk about, when it comes right down to it, they're the best two players in women's golf, and ultimately, I don't think this is going to affect the way they perform. And
we'll certainly see how it plays out the rest of 2017. One major down, 4 still to go on the LPGA Tour schedule. And still to come, Lydia Ko's run as a teenager may never be matched, but she's not the only teen phenom we've seen in golf history. From young Tom to a Tiger Cub, we give you the best teens of all time. That's later on Golf Central.
The bucket hat Tiger was sporting. Well, this week marks the 69th edition of the Zurich Classic, but it's the first time it's being played with the team format. Both winning players will receive a normal 2-year PGA Tour exemption, but there won't be any world ranking points or an invitation to the Masters offered to the champs. However, the top 5 teams and ties will get into next week's Wells Fargo Championship. As we take a look at the details of the tournament, including the team format specifics, the field consists of 82-man teams with the top 35 advancing to the weekend. Alternate shot will be played in rounds 1 and 3, and it's best ball on Friday and Sunday as we welcome in Matt Adams, Tripp Eisenhower. Simple question, guys. You like the format?
I do. And when I heard there was a team event, I'm like, please don't let it be all best ball. Please throw in alternate shot. You know, vary it up. And alternate shot, let's be honest, that's what the U.S. side in the Ryder Cup has been lacking in. So it's a format that possibly you could be looking at, hey, do these two guys play well together for the American teams? And I'm sure the Europeans would be doing the same thing with a Justin Rose and a Henrik Stenson being paired together. The other thing is maybe eventually they evolve the format at least and throw in a 3rd round of scramble, then make a cut, and then the last round be best ball. I think that would be unique to the event, but all in all, this is a great decision by the PGA Tour, and I'm glad they're doing it on this golf course.
Remember how we had heard over the years that the Americans need more experience in 4-balls and foursomes and playing in that format and team competition? I love what they're doing. So I reached out to Jim Furyk today, the United States Ryder Cup captain, of course, and I asked him simply, are you excited about this week? And he said, quote, I'm not sure I'm excited. I'm more curious. He said it should be a fun event and went on to say, I'm curious to see how guys pair themselves, friends or sponsors, or just trying to match up strengths and weaknesses in their games. I'm guessing most are going to be playing with their friends, end quote. That from the United States Ryder Cup captain. So I think it's fantastic that the U.S. squad, in keeping with this path that they're going down, the union between the PGA of America and the PGA Tour and the players on the committee and the officers therein, everybody's on the same page with this.
Tripp, I'm sorry. I don't want to see pros play a scramble format. Well, I just don't. I mean, best ball, alternate shot. If you have to drop one of those.
Well, I'm just saying, look at the evolution of it. But at least in alternate shot this week, you've got 3 par 3s that are odd numbered holes. So look at the strategy in that as well. I do like the alternate shot format much more than scramble. I will be on that, but I would love to see that as well. So you have that one day where you go really low.
I think I'm against the scramble too.
See, I mean, come on, what are you do a scramble photo? They're all holding their drivers. Come on. Some of the top teams playing in the Zurich Classic this week. It's going to be so much fun to watch these guys. Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, 13 combined worldwide wins since 2015 began. Then you have Justin Rose, Henrik Stenson, 4-2-0 as Ryder Cup partners in 2014 and 2016. That's going to be a tough duo to stop. And the South African team of Brandon Grace and Louis Oosthuizen 4-0 as President Cup partners in 2015. They led their matches for 46 holes and only trailed for 2. Some other notable teams. How about the Texans? Jordan Spieth, Ryan Palmer, 1 Aggie, 1 Longhorn there. Bubba Watson, J.B. Holmes, 2 Southern boys and big hitters. And then some brotherly love there with Brooks Koepka and his brother Chase. Let's hear from one of those aforementioned Texans.
It's going to be fun, but I'm excited to get to play with Jordan. We've become pretty good close friends and play a lot of practice rounds together. But I'm looking forward to playing with him, learning something from him, obviously. But just a little change in the schedule, and I think Zurich's going to be pretty happy what next week is going to hold.
Didn't you pick Ryan Palmer last week? That was a good one.
I did.
Late Saturday Sunday chart.
Yeah, he's playing well.
Okay, so On that note,
well,
who's your favorite?
It's hard to skip over that Spieth Palmer team, but you know, I'm looking at a team to watch at least is Jason Day and Ricky Fowler. And what I like about the way that this team could yin and yang, Ricky's on fire with his irons, Jason's a little off. So with that alternate shot format, you could see certainly Ricky probably hitting the shots on the par threes. And you know what? Both these guys are fantastic scramblers. They are great putters. Now, Jason Day, his putter's taking a vacation so far this year, but you know what? When you've got a partner right there at your back, and you know you do something for a partner, you kind of get that extra motivation, if you will. So, and Jason Day's played well here. He's had a 5th place and a 4th place finish the last couple of years, and he has a scoring average on this golf course better than 68. So, I think this team is definitely one to be reckoned with.
Not really going out on a limb all that much with that one. All right, so follow me on this one, Trip. I'm looking at Bubba Watson and J.B. Holmes. Consider the fact that Bubba won this event in 2011. Now, I know what you're thinking because it was just last week we were talking about Bubba when he was going into China and the trouble that he's been having this year. It's interesting, though, that against J.B. Holmes, he actually beat him in match play, and they partnered together in 2015 at the President's Cup. They went 2-1-1 in that President's Cup, and I loved the way that they surmised their partnership. Bubba said, we can make birdie at any moment is what he's saying. We can hit it in the trees and still make birdie from there. This is a golf course this week that has a lot of trees on it, has a lot of water on it. It's got bunkers on it. You saw the alligator swimming in the pond when we were coming on today. I think that was Tripod, the famed tripod that's down there, the 3-legged alligator. So I think these guys are going to be alligators this week because they partner so well. They're excited about being there. We know what they can do off the tee. We do know that they have struggled with their accuracy in the greens and regulation, but this last week, Bubba was 62% greens and regulation, a considerable improvement from the 74% he's been averaging this year on the PGA Tour. So I think this is a team that you have to watch because they're going to gel.
I think they're going to lead the field in y'alls. So there you go. That's done. You're going to have your top 5 teams on Wednesday, right? So there you go. You guys want a high five before we send it over to the other guys?
No,
High five. George, Rosie, you guys want a high five again?
I think we've reached our quota for high fives for not just the show, but the first quarter, but we appreciate it, Lisa. Excitement about being at the Zurich Classic, Rosie. Not something we had really heard of out of guys in the top 10, top 30, top 50. I was covering the event. Last year was dampened by the rain. The Monday finished, and there weren't just a lot of big names. Totally different storyline this year. How much has that shifted?
Well, it's huge. You just want to see the impact that this decision had. Last year in the field, only 3 of the top 30 players in the world. This year, 13 of the top 30 players in the world. And personally, George, I'm looking at a pairing of one guy who's 14-16 in the world. That's Chase Koepka playing with his big brother, Brooks.
And you led right into that. That's the only pairing of brothers, Brooks and Chase Koepka. It could be a big week for Chase. Here's Brooks's take on how the Koepka brothers will fare together.
It'll be fun. I don't get to see my brother play too much, so that'll be pretty neat. It'll be neat for my family, my mom and dad and stepmom to watch that, watch him play his first PGA Tour event. It'll be pretty cool, but it'll be fun to be relaxed. You know, I'm playing well, he's playing well. He's actually done pretty well in some tournaments lately, so it'll be fun, but it could be interesting with us, you know, little brotherly love. We could kill each other on the second hole, or it could be awesome.
Fisticuffs, high fives, noogies, who knows out of those two. But for Chase, pretty unique situation with what's on the line for him if they win or if they finish top 5.
Well, I was told this is actually Brooks's idea. When he heard about this tournament change coming out last year, he pitched the idea of playing with his brother, took it to the tournament. They liked the idea of brothers. And as you were referring, they had to get a special exemption to get Chase in because he's not a member of the PGA Tour. But if he can ride his brother's hot play, coming in second just this past weekend, actually getting hot in a match play and taking it right through the Masters, he gets a 2-year PGA Tour card. And as you referenced, if they're inside the top 10, which is maybe more conceivable, that means he gets in next week up at Wells Fargo.
That could get him a nice bonus start on the PGA Tour. So here's everything in play for the guys in the field. In NOLA, you see a split between teammates based on finish as far as FedEx Cup points being shared, and you get a 2-year PGA Tour exemption, though there will be no world ranking points on the table. Much more to come tonight on the show as an emphatic first W on the PGA Tour. Find out what it meant to Kevin Chappell in his own words. Plus, now that Chappie has the monkey off his back, Who's next to have the edge to get their first win? And we're looking at some of the best team moments we've seen in golf. Where do DA and Bill rank with one of the least athletic chest bumps we've probably ever seen? This is Golf Central.
Golf Central is brought to you by Titleist, the #1 ball at the Valero Texas Open. Comcast Business, built for business.